They say the night hides more than shadows. It hides the truth.
Welcome to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where real crimes, true horrors, and restless spirits speak through the silence. Listen closely, because sometimes the whispers are real.
Some stories stay in the places they happen, but others, they follow you. They wait in the quiet corners of memory. Tonight, we'll be exploring a true story submitted by a real person, a story that proves the scariest things don't happen in the woods or abandoned houses. They happen in places you go every day. This is a disturbing true horror story. This happened back in 2014 when I worked at a mid-sized law firm in downtown Denver. I was only 25 at the time, and I had just started working as a junior paralegal, which basically meant I was low on the food chain, and whenever there was late-night paperwork, I was the one stuck staying after hours. The office was on the 17th floor of a tall glass building, and after 8 p.m., it felt like a completely different place. During the day, it was buzzing with phone calls, footsteps, voices echoing down the hall. But at night, the silence was heavy. The kind where you can hear your own breathing, your own heartbeat. On one of those late nights, I was alone at my desk, going through piles of documents, when I suddenly heard the copy machine down the hall turn on. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe it was set to some kind of automatic cycle. But then I realized I hadn't sent anything to print, and neither had anyone else because I was literally the last person in the office. I tried to brush it off, but the sound of paper shuffling into the tray made me stop what I was doing. I walked to the copy room, and sure enough, the machine was spitting out a single sheet of paper. It was completely black, not like it jammed, not like an error page. The entire sheet was just a solid silhouette of a man standing upright. I actually laughed nervously, thinking maybe someone was pulling a prank. But when I checked the computer log for the printer, it showed no job history. It was like the page had just created itself. The next night, I stayed late again, and at almost the exact same time, 10:17 p.m., the copier started up again. This time, I didn't go right away. I just sat frozen at my desk, listening to the machine's grinding and whirring echo down the hall. Eventually, I worked up the courage and went to check. And again, one single page sat in the tray. This time, the silhouette was clearer. Still just black ink, but it looked like a man with shoulders, arms, standing closer like he had stepped toward the glass. I got chills running down my spine. I decided to tell one of the other paralegals about it the next day. I expected her to laugh, but instead, her face went pale. She told me that years ago, before I started working there, a young intern had hung himself in that same copy room. Nobody ever mentioned it because the firm didn't want the reputation damaged. I didn't know what to say, but I know from that moment I didn't like being near that machine. A week later, the strangest thing happened. I had a case file I needed to copy, so I forced myself into the copy room. And as I placed the paper down, I noticed movement in the glass reflection of the scanner bed. Someone was standing behind me. I spun around so fast I nearly fell, but the room was empty. My heart was hammering in my chest. I turned back to the copier, and right as I lifted the lid, it scanned on its own. And printed a sheet. When I picked it up, I felt my knees almost buckle. The silhouette on the page was me, not my outline, not a random shadow. It was clearly me, hunched over the machine, just like I had been seconds before. That was the last night I ever worked alone in that office. I made sure someone else was always around. A few months later, I quit the job entirely. I never told anyone else what I saw, but sometimes, late at night, I think about those pages, and I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed just one night longer. Some people think hauntings only live in old houses or cemeteries or deep in the woods, but the truth is horror lives where we least expect it. A sound over the intercom, a baby crying where no child exists, a chair waiting for you in an empty basement, and maybe the scariest part, you'll never know if the story is over or if you're just in the middle of your own. Thank you for watching. Please comment below if the story unsettled you, and if you've ever had something unexplainable happen in a place that should have felt safe. Because sometimes the places we trust the most are the ones that watch us back.
You've been listening to Mr. Haunting Whispers, where every truth leaves a scar. If the story unsettled you, good. That means you were listening. Subscribe and stay close to the dark, because the next whisper might be for you.